So, good morning, everyone. I'm Natalie, and I am one of the senior account drafters at Honey Barrett, and also, as you can see, quite proficient in Xero. Daniel, my co-host, again, we're part of the main Xero team at Honey Barrett. He's a manager, and if you have any questions, just put them in the chat, but we'll try and get through all the main questions at the end if possible. Right, so I will get started. So, I presume most of you all have used Xero, so we're just going to have a quick run through on all the basics, but as we go along, we're going to just show you a few extra bits in case you might need a little refresher or just a few extra bits, and we'll also sort of chat about the mobile app and importing stuff into Xero as well. So hopefully, find it useful. Okay. Okay, so hope everyone can see my screen. All right, so from what I can tell, most of you have seen Xero before, you know this is the dashboard. And on the dashboard, logged out, typical. Right, so dashboard is, as it says, a dashboard. It shows your main things you want to just keep an eye on. And I can show you how to add bits onto that as we go along. Right. So the main things you always want to check is your bank accounts, see where they are. And on the other side, you have a watch list. And also you can see what invoices, money is owing to you and what money is owing to other people. You can edit your dashboard at the bottom. Edit dashboard. And all this does is just move things about. I can move that down. Okay. On every screen, there's a help video. So if you ever get stuck, you're more than welcome to use the short Xero videos. If not, you can always just give me and Daniel a call. Okay. Right. Under your main heading, there is various things. We'll come back to these, but you've got files and settings, and we'll come back to files later on, because I've got a little thing to show you. The other bits here, generally aren't applicable to many GP practices, and they are paid for services. All right. So from there, we're going to go to contacts. Adding a contact. Right. There are a few different ways for adding contacts. Obviously going to contacts and selecting which one you want, and then clicking add contact. It's straightforward for adding contacts. Obviously, you put the name in, put your details in, and a little tip on this one, adding a postal address. You type in the name, hopefully it might find it. There you go. Type in postcode, and that will find it as well. Right. So this one, we're just going to select this one. Quite simple and easy. It's the same address. Again, you can just hit the same address. Now, at the bottom when you're adding contacts, you can set the defaults. So you've got sales, set the tax, whether it's tax inclusive, exclusive, or there should be no VAT. And you can set where it's going to go. Okay. Same for expenses. And then you can just set the default back. Obviously, this is mainly for dispensing practices. So that is unless you're dispensing, you won't need to worry about it. Then the only other bit to worry about really is at the bottom where you can fill in the due dates. Okay. All you do is save. Okay, as you can see, I've already got one that exists. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Right. So that is contacts. It's quite straightforward. And you can see what currently is standing as owed to the owed to the suppliers and owed to the customers. Okay. Right, you can merge. If you've got more than one, you can merge companies. So as you can see, I've got 2 honey barracks. I can merge these by selecting the one I want to get rid of. Options, merge, and find the one I want to merge it with. Okay. It's quite handy because it keeps things tidy. I do recommend probably every once in a while having a tidy up and looking through your contacts, seeing which you can archive, and so on. If you're moving systems, you can import as well as export. Okay. Is everyone all right with that so far? Right, I'm going to go back to the dashboard for a second. Now, across the top here, got a little plus sign, and from there, again, you can create invoices and bills and contacts. But it's another little quick and easy way to get wherever you want to in Xero. Okay. You want to search for anything particular? So say, search for an amount. It'll come up with anything with that amount in it. So bank transactions and contacts. Okay. That's little notifications. I won't click on that one. And then you've got a help. Again, if you're stuck on anything, nice little help screen, and it'll take you through Xero's help if you need to find any articles. Okay. So now along the top, as you can see, we've got dashboard, business, accounting, contacts. We've run through contacts. I'm going to show you the next, the chart of accounts. Now, the chart of accounts are tailorable, so you can add as many nominal accounts as you wish. Us at Honey Barrett, for our GPs, we actually have a set chart of accounts which we bring in, which effectively mirrors our set of accounts. So it makes things easy for us when we're busy preparing the accounts. So under revenue, as you can see, we've got global sum, correction factor, basically everything that you need. So we'll have the GMS contract stuff, other NHS income, sundry NHS income and reimbursements, and then ordinary non-NHS income. In here, you need to create any new codes, set add contact. Select what it is you want, type it. Okay. Enter a unique character code. 256 available. Not available. Yeah, and then you just put in the description. For non-dispensing practices, this will always be no VAT. Okay, and then you just save it. you've got any nominal accounts that you don't wish to use anymore, you can archive them. All you have to do is just click on it and hit archive. Don't delete. If you delete, it will lose everything that's done historically. If you do archive, at least then the data is still sitting there. Okay. Now, if you recall, on the dashboard, we basically put things we want to watch. So on here, if there's anything we want to watch particularly, say, I think I put global sum on there. No, I haven't. Right, so I want to watch global sum, how much we're getting a month. Just click on it and it says show on dashboard watch list. Okay, save that. And then it should be on our dashboard. And then you can watch. Okay, under watch list there. I've got global sum and our NHS control account. Okay. So that is our chartered account. Like I said, you can tailor these. As you can see, I've got all our doctors in there, all our partners. Okay. For creating bank accounts, you need to actually have the add bank account. Depending on who you're with, select it and you run through your login details. Okay. Obviously, these are automatic imports. Depending on the bank, they can be a day behind. Okay, so wait till the next morning for it to refresh itself. If there are any issues, just view the status updates and you can also activate and renew. Ways you can help your practice. If you've got any secretaries writing up invoices, okay, I found that we've had a couple where they want to use the products and services. Okay, now bearing in mind this Xero, you can set different access for different people. So if you have secretaries that you just want them to create invoices, then they just have that access, they don't see anything else. All right. So under products and services, you can create for non-NHS income a simple version with standard prices. So cremation fees, vaccinations, insurance reports. I'm going to create 1.03. DVLA. It's not a purchase item, it's an item that you're providing. So it's £40. And let's go to insurance reports. Okay. And you just save that one. I'll show you how that flows through in a minute. Okay. Now, so this helps if you are creating invoices through Xero. You can tailor make your own invoices on here within reason. You can make them very more specific, but it is a bit more on the that's not a difficult side. It's just a bit more faffing. Okay, but generally you can create invoices in here and add your logos. All right. Now, like I said, a few practices found that quite useful using that as a standard template for pricing. Okay. Right. Everyone all right so far? Yeah. If I'm going too fast, please just tell me to slow down. I don't mind. Right. Okay. I am going through lots of the little bits at the moment. I'm not getting into the big nitty-gritty. And yes, my colleague Daniel has sent a link on the chat. So if you do have any issues with the bank feeds, Xero do have a status page that you can go to and check if there is any known issues for that day. Okay, the link is in the chat group. Right, so like today, they had an issue with some of the email bills, and you can see that they have gone through it, sorted it. Hopefully there should be no more issues, but they do on there put on any other instances that happen on that day. Okay, so it's always a good worth checking that. They are having a couple of issues. Can you see it? Okay. Next thing I want to show you is manual journals. Now, as we know, GMS income or NHS income comes from various different sources, and especially as they split the lovely GMS statement into more than one receipt, and it's always a bit difficult to tie these things up. So we have came up with a plan of action of creating a control account for the income, whereby we post the GMS statement, which splits it out into the various income streams. Okay. The good thing with this one is that you don't have to create this one every time. Once you've done it once, it'll just be a case of journal options and copy it. Just change the month, March, and then update the fees and add any extras and take any bits off. As you can see, there is my NHS control account where the balance, which is the net GMS income, gets posted to. Okay. Now, we recommended that to all of our practices that are on Xero as a way to help speed things up, because we know that GMS statements can be quite time consuming. Okay. If I post that, so I've got my 2 months of GMS statements. Okay. When it comes to the income for that coming through the bank, again, the income just gets posted to the GMS control account, which should be Xero at the end of each month. Right. Now, like I said, there will be multiple payments. I've usually seen 2. One being just the main enhanced services that come through, and then the main bulk of the GMS contract comes through. So those 2 amounts will go to the 640 code that we've set, and it will clear it down each month. Okay. I'll show you how that looks on our trial balance. Again, I will go a bit more into in a minute. So there you go. Our journal has split out our global sum into our global sum account, enhanced service into our enhanced service account, and so on and so forth. Sitting in our NHS control account is 2 lots of that, and which will need to have the income matched against it. And as you can see, we just need to click onto anything and it will delve deeper. Okay. Now, as you can see, you probably don't need all those details. All you have to do is click on report settings and then change the settings as you see fit. I always like this view. I'll come back to on that, because again, there's things that you can import then to attach to journals and various other things. There's an attachment folder there. I'll show you how to get to those bits. You can attach GMS statements so they're on Xero. So should your accountant need to look at them, they're already there. Okay. Right. So I'm now going to move on to invoices. Is everyone okay so far? Any questions on journals? No? Right. Okay, right, so we go to business and invoices. As you can see, I've already got 3 sitting in there, right? Now I'll show them how they match up on the bank. Right. Okay, so Xero have updated their invoices. So you can choose if you prefer the old layout or the new layout. So this is the new layout. Right. And again, Xero can be quite intuitive. So again, for who is it for? And then stop typing. It'll pick up, or it'll stop picking up the contacts that we've got already. However, if you want to create a new one, okay, this is only on the new layout, mind you. You can actually add the new contact from here. Okay, add in the email address and their billing information. Okay. Okay. Save that. Invoice number, you can set invoice numbers in here so you can start from wherever you want to. I'll just leave it as the Xero generated one. Right. Issue date, straightforward. I put now the due date, select that. Now, little tip on this, if you put plus 15, it will automatically calculate the due date. Okay, get something to speed things up. Do plus whatever you want on there. Right. Now, if you recall, I said about the products and services. I'm open this in a new tab, which is another great thing about Xero. You can open in multiple tabs as much as you want and have various different things. Just don't get yourself confused. Now, as I say, under the products and services, we created a standard fees. So on the add description here, I can then select information fee, 82, and it's already going to information fees and load that. Okay. All I have to do now is send that one. We'll approve it once it's done. Keep my save, it's not fair. So that's showing the new layout. Okay, there's list of view. Right, the old layout. Invoice. Now, as you can see, it says switching to classic invoicing. So again, same premise. Obviously, type in who you want. The only problem is if you have a new contact, it won't let you give an option to fill in all the details like it did on the new version. Okay, but it's still the same premise of due date 25. Okay, and under this one, you'll still have the options for the non-NHS income reports. Fill it all in. Okay. Now, another little quick tip here on the unit price. You can add things up in the cell. So 50 plus 50 plus 100. add things up. Okay, that's always quite useful. And again, you need to split the lines. Do so. All right. Lovely little multiplication and subtraction. You can use that. That's quite. I find that quite handy, especially when trying to work out that. And okay. So that is the new and the old invoicing. Okay. Right. Again, with all of these, if you have multiple or similar ones, you're always welcome to copy them. I use this quite a lot. So if I go to that one. Okay. Invoice options and copy. Okay, another one for him. Change. Okay. If you make any errors, as long as you haven't allocated any income, you can actually void these or edit them. Once you've allocated income, it's a little more difficult to have to unallocate the income to make any amendments. Okay. Right. Now, I got asked about this the other day. If you've got anything that you need to make any additional notes on invoices, and this is supposed to be purchase invoices, there is an add note at the bottom. You can add anything, say, usually pays late. Okay? And you can save that. Show up there. Okay. Okay. So if you created it, edited it, approved it, and there's our note. Okay. So again, if you have anything that you need to add information to at the time that you know you've got to tell your accountant about, but not go, I've got to write this down somewhere, might be the best place to add the notes onto these things. And you can do it on bank transactions as well and on expense invoices. Okay. Right. So I'm going to quickly touch on expense invoices. Again, very similar, but they do not have any layout. It's still the old standard layout. Okay. Again, you've got add notes at the bottom. Same for due dates. You can do the plus 20, plus 40, whatever you want. Okay. Now, with these, obviously you can create them the standard way that we've all been doing. Go new bill and create. Okay. Now, there's a few extra bits to help make things a little bit simpler, depending on how you actually receive bills in. Okay. So, I am going to show you another screen. So, right. The first way you can do this is you can actually create a bill from an email. Okay, so over here, create bill. If you click on that, it will give you an email link. All right. Now that link is unique to your practice, so it will not go anywhere else. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to change screens. So here's one I prepared earlier. Okay, so I have received an email expense invoice from Natalie Barrett. I'm going to forward that on into my Xero. Okay. So back into Xero. I'll go into my draft. Like that email with that attachment is sitting in here. Okay. Now, the more you put into Xero, the more automatic it will become. Right? So we'll pick up things like the from, the date, okay, due date, and the reference. Okay. So you'll have to start filling it. You'll fill in a few extra bits as you go along. So we'll say that's what. And set it to. Okay. I hope you can see that it's actually brought in the PDF from that email, and I've created an invoice as it is there. Okay. Hopefully that will speed things up as well if you choose to get them via email. Okay. Read that one. Another way to create bills is you can use the mobile app. It's the one I tend to do when I've got a lot of paperwork. Okay. So now this is where you've got two ways. You've got to use the files or we can use bill. Okay. Right. I am going to introduce you to the mobile app for Xero now. Hopefully you'll see that. So this is the app on the phone. Okay. Now again, it's very similar. You can do reconciliations and everything else from here. Right, so I'm going to go click on the plus, add bill, add an attachment, photo. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. Sorry, we do too many things at once. So there we go. I've taken a picture of an invoice that's in front of me. What I'm going to do is put it here, Barrett, and I'm going to save that. And then that's sitting in my draft on my screen. Okay. Yeah, there we go. This is the one I've taken from my phone with an invoice in front of me. There we go. Okay, and again, and then enter the details as I see fit on that one. Okay. So there's a couple of ways to enter the bills. And then the other way I tend to do, there's very similar ones, like Viola. I use go bills and copy, change the details, change the date, change the invoice number, and keep the rest of the details as it doesn't generally tend to change much, and then approve. There's a few quick things to get in bills on, hopefully quicker and easier. The mobile app is, you just download it from your, depending on what phone you've got. So if it's iPhone, you'll be the Apple account, and Android, you'll need the Google Play. Download it. Okay. Any questions? Everything okay? That's anyone's thinking particularly right now on that before I carry on. Pop it in the chat. So this is a quick run through with extra bits on here that hopefully will help things speed up a bit when you're entering into Xero. Okay. So next we're going to go to the bank. Now the bank, you can go between either by dashboard, or you can go accounting and bank accounts. Okay. As you can see, I've got petty cash at the top. I usually like petty cash at the bottom, so I am just using the arrows and changing the order. I like things being ordered. Okay, so as you can see, and most of you have done bank reconciliations on Xero, hopefully. Click on reconcile, and then what you see initially on the reconcile is this is all your transactions coming through the bank automatically. And then on the right side is where you're going to allocate them all out to the various nominal codes. Okay. Right. So go along the top here. Again, you've got cash coding. Okay. So again, if you get something like bank fees are generally every month. You can either put bills in themselves and allocate them, or you just get them, you just post them directly. You can use this. It's quite nice little cash coding. Again, nice little quick and easy tip. If you select all the ones you want, all the bank fees, okay. Description, well, just look at the bank fees, account, bank fees. You can see it automatically fills in the rest for all the ones I've selected. Okay. And then I'll just hit save and reconcile. Now, hopefully, your banks aren't as bad as this one, where everything should be reconciled quite regularly. So you probably won't need this option too much, but if you do have in a particular month, quite a few little ones that don't have particular invoices, this is a nice, quick and easy way to just get rid of, in this case, well, all in one hit. And they're off my bank. Okay, so they're no longer in here for me to reconcile. I've just gotten rid of them. Okay. So cash coding is a nice little function if you need it. Right. Bank statements tab. This is literally almost like a copy of your actual bank statement of what's been imported. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, there are a couple of banks, I don't know why, that seem to have had a bit of an issue at the beginning of the year of bringing duplicates in. We highly recommend that you at least check the Xero bank to your actual bank statement once a month, just to make sure the balance is actually agreed. Because if you do have a problem at a later date, it's hard to go back quite a few months to try and figure out what went wrong. And so, yes, like I said, there were a couple of banks that did bring duplicates in. So things aren't always perfect. Computer systems aren't always perfect. We all know that. And Xero is subject, obviously, in the updates from Xero themselves, the web browser you're using, and the banks for their security updates. Okay. Should you have a duplicate, it's quite straightforward as just selecting and deleting at the top. Okay, and then vice versa, if you delete something you shouldn't, you just tick it and then restore it. All right. There's also a nice little search function, so if you're not sure, or if you've seen something before, you need to find something, yeah, search by the name and search by amount. Okay. And again, from here, if they've been reconciled, you can dig deeper into them. And then account transactions is effectively the going from the other way. So we'll have, if you've got an invoice and your market is paid, it will sit on here until it comes through the bank to then reconcile. If that makes sense. Okay. So I will fix that for you. So here we go. On my bills to pay. Okay. I'll select swap. So if I say up here, date paid was in, I've selected the paid from this account and add payment. Okay. That will have cleared on my supplier ledger, but it will be sitting here, it's unreconciled until it actually comes to the bank. Once it comes to the bank, it will match off, and then that will be reconciled. Okay. And a nice little feature, you can always drill down on anything that's on here. So if you want to double check where things are gone, just click on it and it will take you to the main transaction. Okay. So as you can see, I have got some bits that are greened on here. That means they have been allocated at the moment temporarily to an invoice. They're not matched until you green them. Okay, so you okay them. I have an invoice from Mr. Smith, matches to an invoice I've got, that's the payment. If I click it, it disappears. It's been reconciled. Hopefully that should be quite straightforward. I don't need to go too much more onto those. Okay. Right. Now the next one we have is if you've got, say, like CQC, you get a big invoice at the beginning of the year, put the invoice on, but then it's a monthly direct debit. So best thing is I've put on the invoice, sitting there, okay, quality commissions. This is the monthly direct debit payment. I've got to match, found care quality. You tick it, you split it, and it allocates it against the invoice. Right. I'll reconcile that one. But come next month, let's find the next one in here. Okay. Now CQC here. Oh, wait, but it's matching against a BT invoice. That's not correct. So I'm going to click find a match, select the correct one that I want. Then split that again. Put 250 against it, split it, and untick the BT one, and then reconcile. So that's dealing with direct debits where you've got one big bill that's for the whole year annually and you pay it monthly. Okay. Right. Overpay, well, say overpayments. Okay. Again, say for instance you're paying something on account of. So again, you can do that for electricity, for accountancy fees, where you pay standing order each month, and then obviously at some point when you get billed, it comes off your big bill. For example, I've got here Honey Barrett. So I'm going to create this. Now, under spent as, there's a direct payment. You can drop that down and select overpayment. Right. This will then create it on your purchase ledger. Right. It will sit there as money that is technically owed back to the practice until a bill is then raised. Okay, so let me save that. I'll show you what I mean where it sits. Business. Okay. By search. Yep, I've got £50 sitting there. Pay to the bank. When it comes to the point where you need to allocate that to the bills, so you need to put the full bill in and then allocate. So I'm going to click on Honey Barrett on this bill, billing, and then there's a credit this bill. Okay, click on that, and then put that £50 against it, allocate. Choose the bill, and then it's not sitting there anymore. Okay. So that's allocating any standing orders that you may have set up, and that again, like I said, you can have that for electricity, Eon, and that where you pay a monthly standing order, and then when they bill it, you obviously put the whole bill on and you match it all. Okay. Does that hopefully that is a useful tip on those bits. Okay. Right. So next bit we have is creating bank rules. So if you have monthly that goes out or comes in, like drawings for instance, you create a bank rule. So I've got Dr. Immune here. Okay. Every month he gets paid 500 drawings. I'm going to create a bank rule. So spend money. Give them the details. So I've got pay equals Dr. Immune. Okay. Probably because I haven't set it up yet. And I'm going to put it drawings. And what will happen is once I save this, every time it comes up on my bank feed, at the moment, it's not got anything allocated to him. You have to fill in those details every time. Okay. Once I create this bank rule, okay, yep. Now it says, oh, you've got a rule. You want to apply it? I go, yes. So if I go down to phase 1, there we go. There it is, 5th July. Okay, again, the rule's there. And it's up to you. You don't have to always apply it if it's something different, but at least it's there and it will save some time if you're typing everything out. Okay. So hopefully that helps bank rules. Understandable. If you've got any questions on those, hopefully that should be straightforward enough. Okay. Transfers. Bank transfers. If you've got more than one bank account in Xero, it's quite straightforward just to do a bank transfer. Transfer to a deposit account. just select transfer, select the account you want to go to, and hit OK. Show you the other side of that. So my dashboard, my deposit account. Yep. That's where the transfer's gone, and I just click OK, and then that one's done and reconciled. Next, I'm going to show you how to deal with refunds. So now I get asked a lot about refunds. Now, before I do that, right, I've got one here. All right, again, got a note. Okay, it says, I think we've overpaid this one. Now, the discuss is quite handy again. So, like I say, put notes and everything. If you're not sure of something, put a note on it here, and then you can either discuss it with someone else or you can discuss it with your accountant where best to put it. Okay. Sure this is next. Okay. Save that one. So again, use those, they're quite handy to discuss if you're not sure. Okay. Now, with this AAH one, right? So we think we've overpaid it. So at the moment, I'm going to match it. This is one I've made earlier. So yes, I have got a bill. It does look like I've overpaid it. Okay. So I'm going to match onto my invoice. Then for the balance, I'm going to do a spend money, but change it to an overpayment. So it sits on the account as money owing back to us. Okay. Overpaid. That now matches. Reconcile that one. So on here, search my AH. As you can see, right? Now I've got, we have overpaid, I've now got the 260 back to us. Now, when that money comes back, when you do get a refund for anything, okay? So, my refund comes through there on the 15th of June. Xero, this is a little quirk that Xero has where you can't allocate it like you normally do. You can't match it. You have to first go to the actual, on here, on your bills or on your invoice, obviously, click on that overpayment and you've actually got to set it at the bottom here as that it's been received. Okay, that's a 15th of June. Right. That bit has to be done first, for it to automatically come up on here. So if I refresh that, there we go, now it finds it. Okay, and I match it off. I don't know why Xero have set it that way, but if you know that, if you can do it, then it's quite straightforward. But yes, you've got to do one step before you actually reconcile it on the bank. Okay. If you ever have an instance where a transaction has been missed on your bank, on the bank import, okay, you go to account transactions, or indeed you can go to manage, add spend money there, or receive money, transfer, or over here, transaction. Okay. So say a bank fee was missed. Okay. Save that one. So this is a way to add it in if you've missed, if something has been missed from the import. Okay. Now, obviously, you won't be able to reconcile it because it won't be on your reconcile screen. Now, the way to do this is underneath question mark, okay, very much you have to be on the bank screen to have this enabled. There's a enable markers reconcile. Take that. Okay. It gives you a new button that says more. Okay, with a mark and unmark reconcile. If I tick the one I want to reconcile, because I know it was on the bank, it just didn't come through for whatever reason. Tick it, hit more, and then I mark as reconcile. Okay. Yeah, so it'll say done by the user other than imported to the bank, but then your bank will add up to hopefully your bank statement. Okay. Now that's quite a handy way for if you're doing petty cash. Petty cash. So obviously petty cash doesn't have bank imports. Okay? And for petty cash you have to manually add in transactions. Now if you have another spreadsheet, say that you've used for petty cash, but you want to bring that balance into Xero as well, so you've got a complete package then. You don't have to bring every single one in. You can just do a monthly spend and a monthly receive income. So what I tend to do is petty cash, put in the month end, and say petty cash, well, for reference for March. And then you can add all the different lines for all the different categories. Okay, so stationery. And some sundries. Okay, let's save that. Okay, so that's the scenario. Can you still hear me and see me? Yeah? I hope you can still see my screen. Yeah? So like I said, if you have a separate petty cash, especially but you still want to bring them in, I would suggest doing a monthly summary. So say for March, I've done that one, then I can copy this one, options, copy, do it for April. Right, and then just change the figures. Save that one. And then, like I said, with the bank, so you can reconcile it, you just tick them, hit them all, and mark as reconciled. Okay. And that will the pet cash and match each month to your spreadsheet. But then you've got the complete data on the system. Okay. As I said, I'll reiterate again, on here you can then add notes. So if you just click on one transaction, you can add notes. Okay, so that is all the bits I can think of showing you, of having a quick run through on various sections. Okay. Now, if you ever need to test anything out, you do have access to a demo company. So if you're not sure on something, you can have a little trial on there. Okay. you're worried about messing up your own data, that is, of course. Okay. Everyone has access to this, as in you have your own demo company, but everyone has a demo on their own personal login. Okay. Again, have a play with that one. Right. Before I move on to reports, is there anything in particular that anyone has any queries on regarding any of that? I know I kind of rushed through it, but hopefully, like I said, most of you have used Xero, so hopefully this will bring a few bits to your attention to help you out. Okay. Right. Reports. Okay. Under accounting and reports, I'm going to run through the ones that myself and Kate generally tend to look at when we're looking at your data and drafting accounts. So that you, again, hopefully it will help you as well, because again, they are useful reports. Okay. Now, as you can see, you've got various different reports. You've got financial and tax, which tax one you won't need. Main ones are under the financial that you'll need: sales, purchases, and the accounting. I'll run through, so accounting transactions. Right, so this is where you just want to look at an individual nominal. Okay, so you select the one you want. Again, you can type in, if you just type in the name, bring them up, or you can type in the code. Okay, quite straightforward. Select date range. And report settings, you can play around to your heart's content. I usually tend to switch off the VAT and the gross and add on the account code. Okay, and then you just update. Now, you can save this layout. At the bottom, there's a save as custom. So every time you go into there, make this custom report. Every time you go through the account transactions, it will bring out the layout that you've chosen. So you don't have to keep doing report settings. Okay. So this is a way for us to drill down and see what's in a particular code. And you can have multiple codes at the same time. You can select all, or you can just select. The next report that we tend to look at is the trial balance. Trial balance report on. Now, as you can notice, little stars. If you click on the star, it will come up automatically under your report section here. The little quick reference. You want to get to them quickly instead of going clicking on accounting reports and then trying to find it. So, trial balance lists all the nominals that have all got income or got transactions in them. Okay. And if you need to look into something particular, you just click on it, or in my case, I'm going to open a new tab. And see what's in it. Shouldn't have to do it all the time, but it seems to be a little quirk. We're going from the trial balance to account transactions, which doesn't keep the layout. But if you went straight to account transactions, it will keep the layout. But as you can see, you can then I've drilled down into that code, and I can drill down further to see the actual bank transaction as well, or the journal in this case. Okay. As I was saying before, the 640 code should be 0 each month once you've allocated the income into it. Show you how that looks in a second. So that's the trial balance. The next one that is really useful is we've got age receivables and age payables. Now, depending if you use Xero or not for your insurance reports and all your invoicing, this is quite handy to look at and see what is outstanding, especially with DVLA, as we know, they can be quite haphazard on their income. So this is a nice way to keep on top of what's what. So if I click on age details, okay, it shows you what is outstanding. Right. We always look at this, and then we always see what is older than, say, 3 months, and then we do obviously check should these still be outstanding. It's quite useful if you know, maybe as a standard kind of practice, maybe every month just have a look and see if there's anything on there that should be on there or needs to be investigated. Okay. Same goes for the aged payable. So this is all the money that you owe out to various places. Okay. Yeah, we always review these just to make sure it's something that hasn't, just in case of, you know, money has been paid but it hasn't been allocated to the invoice properly. Okay. And again, you can drill down into them further from here by literally clicking on it. If your practice particularly wants to do budgets, you can do budgets in Xero. Okay, using the budget manager, it does take a little bit of time to set up, but it is something that you can use. Right now, it includes every single nominal. Right, so and it is just a case of you have to go through. CCG, if I say 500, 500 a month, right, if you click on the arrow, you can apply the fixed amount for each month, or adjust it by £10 each month, or do it by a percentage. Okay, hit apply, and then it will feed it through. Okay. And then once you fill that all in, your reports, okay, then summary. So I haven't got much data in here to show you fully, but yes, it does work. So budget variance, and then you can see budget against actuals. Okay. Change it by financial year, so on and so forth. Okay. So, obviously, dispensing practices, you can do VAT through Xero, but there is an additional step whereby you need to do a manual calculation outside and then journal in the adjustments needed into Xero to make sure that that works. You can add various different categories, so like the non-attributable expenses, as well as the medical expenses and the dispensing expenses. And again, we can help set those up should you need them. Okay. And I think that is everything that I wanted to cover. So, is there any questions? Is there anything that anyone wants to run through or needs a bit of help on? You can unmute yourself and speak if you want, or you can type. I don't mind. Right? Everyone happy? I hope you found that very useful. Running through Xero. I hope it maybe gave you a bit more confidence in your in how you're using Xero, and obviously helps with if it covered any little niggles that you might be having. Okay. Daniel has put our email addresses in the chat room if you do have any further questions that you may come across afterwards. There is actually one thing I will mention that I've had a couple of times this week. If your Xero does appear to be not working, I would suggest try different web browser. Okay, I've had it. I think Apple Mac. Some reason Apple Macs don't like Xero. You might need to try their native web browser, which I believe is Safari, or just go back to a normal computer. And again, Internet Explorer seems to be a bit of an issue, but it is a bit of an archaic web browser, and I'm not sure they're doing many updates to that. I know that recently on their newer versions of Microsoft, they're using an updated version. I can't quite remember what it's called, but yes, so I would try different browsers. I'd say Firefox and Chrome are the ones I don't seem to have any problems with. But yes, so there is that. Okay. Right, so I've got one thing. Right, I'm checking the chart account. My chart account came with Xero. How can I have a chart account as you showed me? All right, Mary. Yes, well we can the chart of account. It's simple import. So the chart account we use is one that we've set up in the background, and we import it. So it's a case of an Excel setup, import, and then we select the CSV file and we bring it in. Okay. If you email me, we can get that sorted for you. Okay, is that all right, Mary? Right. Firefox doesn't like bank connection refreshes. Oh, you use Chrome. Right. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise. Yeah, Firefox. I've been having issues with Firefox. Well, it depends on the bank. Which bank do you use, Liz? Barclays. Yeah. Okay, we'll look into that one for you, Liz. Yeah, I must admit, yeah. Okay, all right, we'll have a look at that. That's a bit of a strange one. I must admit, my husband uses Barclays and hasn't had an issue with Firefox. Okay, we'll have to sort that one out for you. Okay, is that all right, Riz? Right. Is there any other questions? Is there anything else that anyone needs a hand with? We'll run through. Okay. Like I said, the email addresses are in the chat box. But if you want to write it down, mine is natalie.bose, that's BOCE, at honeybarrett.co.uk. And Daniel's as well is daniel.kidd, that's KIDD, at honeybarrett.co.uk. If you have any questions that you think of afterwards, that always happens to me. Can you go over into okay, yes, I can do. Yeah. All right. So let's go. So if you go to business and bills to pay, okay. Right, if you I'm going to change my share screen. So this is my email, and I've got an email from the supplier. got PDF of the invoice. You can input a Word one, it doesn't like it as much as a PDF. Okay. Right. Now, so in your Xero data, under the bills, there's a create bill from email. Okay. If you click on that, it will give you a link, email link. You copy that and you paste that into your email and you forward your email onto Xero. Okay. When you forward it, once you put that in and forward it, it will come into your draft accounts on here. Okay, and all you do then is you select it, do whatever tweaking you need, and then approve it. Okay. Now, that's for the bills. If you do have any others you want to bring in, yes, it does. Yes, a copy of the invoice, which, yeah, that does save within Xero. So once you've approved that, okay, I'll go back to it. So a minute. So click on Honey Barrett. It saves a little copy there, so it's got a copy on it. It's there. Okay. So it's in Xero. Once it's in Xero, then anyone can have access to it. Okay. If you do have any others, like if you do want to bring in a GMS statement to attach to a journal, okay. If you go to File, so under your name and Files, okay. So again, you can do that through your phone, taking a picture through the app, or again, there's this other email link here. You copy and paste onto the email you're sending in, and it will save it in here. So if I've just done it, so it work. We'll give it a chance to upload itself. Always be the way that one doesn't work. There we go. So I've literally just emailed this into this files. All right. And again, from here you can actually click on the three dots, create a bill, or an invoice. Now, if I wanted to attach that, say that was a GMS statement, if I did want to attach it to a manual journal, okay, click on the one I want, and then there's a little document here. You just click on that one, add from library, select it, and add file, and then that GMS will be attached to it. Okay. And again, that's the same for invoices again. So if you copy an invoice, and like me, you use the app, I tend to take a picture of it and stick it into the files, and then I attach it once I've copied an invoice with all the details. Then it's all there. Okay. Does that help? Hopefully that's. So I must have got that bit. Does that help? Good. Again, you can do the same for any of the banks as well. Bank account. So if you just got a random one, again, you want to create a new one. Again, there's the attachment there. Add the file, and let's upload directly. You've got to save on the system. Okay. Again, just go to file library. If you want to add notes on any of these bank transactions directly, say bank, you go to account transactions and then click on the transaction you want. And again, let's add a note at the bottom then. Add more notes. Is there any more questions? Hopefully that will help. So you've got our email, so if you do come up with anything, just give us a shout. Daniel is full-time, I believe. And myself, I do Mondays to Thursdays, but will always be someone here to help you. All right, should you have any problems. Okay. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I hope that was useful. But hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. It's my pleasure, Nicola. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Yeah. All right. So we'll see you. Stop sharing that. Hopefully I'll speak to you all soon. All right. Thanks. Bye.